So at a time when Donald Trump is taking sly shots at his wife Melania on stage during his rallies, and Melania is desperately trying to distance herself from her criminal husband, she was just spotted yesterday walking around with a $4,000 Burberry belt handbag, and all I have to say is keep sending those donations, MAGA. Keep buying those Trump Bibles and Trump sneakers. Keep sending the last of your paycheck to the Trump family because they so desperately need your money for Trump's legal fees and to make sure that Melania's obsession with expensive fashion is satisfied. But this brings me to a broader story of Melania and Trump drifting apart over the years. This article reads, Trump embraces MAGA activist at Atlanta rally who repeats his offensive claims about Harris's heritage. And there's a story in this, but the main story is Trump considered, quote, never going back home to First Lady after Michaela Montgomery gave him a kiss at fast food restaurant in April. And this tracks with long-standing reports that Melania and Donald just don't like each other anymore. I mean, we learned during the Hush Money trial that they don't even sleep in the same bed. They haven't been since 2005, that Donald Trump has repeatedly cheated on Melania, and that she is trying to distance herself by not showing up at his trials, not showing up at his rallies, not showing up anytime it's important. Donald Trump embraced conservative activist Michaela Montgomery on stage at his Georgia rally before awkwardly quipping that he considered, quote, never going back home to the First Lady when they first met at a Chick-fil-A restaurant in April. And here's the clip right here. And again, Trump is so good at this political doublespeak at rallies where he can say something and half of the crowd can think he's being totally serious and take it completely literally, and the other half of the crowd can say that he's being sarcastic, and that leads to dangerous stuff. But here we go.
Saved my college. And I said, how the hell do you know that? She said, you are, this one is so smart, so sharp. She grabbed me. She gave me a kiss. I said, I think I'm never going back home to the First Lady.
You were supposed to keep that quiet.
See, now, for the average politician, that's death. For me, I don't care.
Flirting on stage and saying you don't want to go back to Melania, who you've cheated on many times. Really classy, Donald Trump. And then saying other politicians would have been ruined by this, so he's self-aware that he can do whatever he wants. But really quickly, I want to break down this clip of J.D. Vance saying he wants to take away birthright citizenship and how that relates to Melania. Watch.
Trump wants to take away some birthright citizenship. Do you agree with him on that?
Yeah, I really do.
Just like deranged stuff. Every single clip that comes out with J.D. Vance in it is the worst thing imaginable. But Holly said Barron Trump was born March 20th of 2006. Melania became a naturalized U.S. citizen on July 28th of 2006, so a few months after Barron was born. Therefore, J.D. Vance would like to take away Barron Trump's U.S. citizenship. Way to go, you want to deport your own boss's son. And this really is a perfect microcosm of the MAGA movement, their poorly thought out positions, the people that vote against their own interests, and the politicians that are working to destroy a country that they claim to love. When it comes to MAGA supporters, I mean, they are voting against their own interests when it comes to healthcare or education or the economy. I've talked to a MAGA supporter. There's a video on my channel. She was a sweet lady, but she was saying she just needed healthcare for her autistic son. She needed therapy, but she won't vote blue because she thinks Democrats are so fundamentally evil, so she'd rather just sit there and struggle because she wants to vote red so staunchly. But back to this article. Trump talked about his kiss with Michaela, then said, for the average politician, that's death. For me, I don't care. This also perfectly summarizes Donald Trump's entire existence in politics. Everything he does has been going against these unwritten rules and norms, but he gets away with it. Melania Trump has been notably absent from the campaign trail, although she did attend the RNC in Milwaukee last month, begrudgingly. The former First Lady wrote a touching tribute to Trump after he survived the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania last month, but let's be real, that tribute was not written by Melania. I remember reading it, and after reading the very first line, I was like, this was not written by her at all. She does not speak like this. Before the attack, the Slovenian former model reportedly cut a deal with her husband. If he takes back the White House in November, she would not have to be constantly on First Lady duty. So yeah, she does not like the duties of being First Lady, and we know that. We have the tapes of her freaking out around Christmas time about the decorations. Earlier at the Atlanta rally on Sunday, Montgomery defended Trump over the offensive remarks he made earlier this week about Kamala Harris's racial racial background. Quote, a few days ago, President Trump said he didn't know VP Harris was a black woman, Montgomery said. Quote, I'm trying to figure out what all the outrage is about because she's only black when it's time to get elected. And folks, just because it's a black woman saying it and not Donald Trump does not make this any less racist or egregious or false. It is a total lie. Last week, Trump claimed at a conference of black journalists that Harris, quote, happened to turn black only recently, to groans from the audience. And again, that is a complete lie. The former president then said, is she Indian or is she black? Republicans have such thick skulls they can't hold two ideas in their head at once. And those two ideas is that Harris was born in California and she has a Jamaican father and her mother was born in India. There's two things that can be true at the same time, but of course, Republicans can't accept that. Just like they can't accept that Donald Trump was ahead on election night when 20% of the ballots had been counted, but as more and more ballots were being counted over the next few days, President Biden took the lead. Republicans just can't hold simple truths in their head. Trump's latest offensive remarks on the race come as the former president has insisted in recent weeks that he and his running mate J.D. Vance are not, quote, the weird ones, despite Democratic messaging to the contrary, and despite repeated, resurfaced videos of J.D. Vance saying the most sexist things imaginable. Like, did nobody vet J.D. Vance, is what I'm wondering. J.D. Vance shot back at Harris's remarks that he and Trump were weird at the rally on Saturday. He continued to tell the crowd that he thought a number of Democratic stances, like getting rid of conservative book bans and allowing trans athletes to compete in sports, were weird. It's weird that Harris, quote, sounded like a Southern belle even though she grew up in Vancouver, he also claimed. And that is yet another example of them tripling down, quadrupling down on the racist attacks. They're saying that VP Harris is faking her accent when she's speaking to a black crowd, and she is not sufficiently black enough because J.D. Vance says so. J.D. Vance from Ohio and Donald Trump say that VP Harris is not sufficiently black. But to go back to Melania, this reads, an immigrant taking a black job, and it's a picture of Melania Trump being welcomed into the White House by former First Lady Michelle Obama while the peaceful transfer of power was happening. By the way, keep in mind, the Obamas had no problem peacefully transferring the power to the Trump family, even though Trump had already spread egregious birth certificate conspiracy theories about Barack Obama. And now we see that mirroring about 12 years later when we see Donald Trump and the ilk beneath him spreading egregious birth certificate conspiracy theories about Kamala Harris. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has an immigrant wife and a VP candidate who wants to deport his own son. It is a mess on the Republican side right now. That is why it is the perfect time for Democrats to be on the offensive as we are, repeatedly, consistently saying that Republicans are weird, calling them out for their authoritarian BS, making sure that voters understand Donald Trump's elector scheme. They understand how he pressured Mike Pence into committing a coup, and that his followers chant, hang Mike Pence, when Pence wouldn't do it. Right now is the time to strike. With 100 days to go, there has never been a better time to be on the offensive, and there are so many ways that our voice can be heard. Even if we put social media aside, you can phone bank, you can canvass, you can door knock, you can donate. There are so many ways to join local Democratic factions and make friends that can help boost the message. Also, if you leave a like on this video and comment a blue heart, that helps as well. You're helping boost my pro-democracy message. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, make sure you leave a like. Most importantly, make sure you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.